Fam, what's up? It's Kyle Henderson along with Clint Lamb. We need to dive right into it. We got spring football coming. Congratulations to the men's basketball team winning the SEC, being the number one seed in the NCAA basketball tournament. A lot to dive into. You can go to BamaInsider.com and read all about that. But Clint, what is your take on this quarterback situation? What does Jalen Milroe have to do in spring ball? What does Ty Simpson have to do to set each other apart going into this very pivotal quarterback competition as we enter 2023?
Well, first off, I don't think it's necessarily about who makes the most plays, right? Under Bryce Young, with a Bryce Young led offense, it was more about, putting games on his shoulders. He carried the run game, here he thrived without a complimentary run game at times. He thrived without a complimentary defense at times. I think he's going to have both those things this year, or not he, but whoever ends up starting, at quarterback for Alabama. So I don't think it's necessarily about trying to be Superman, trying to put everything on your own shoulders. You're going to get a complimentary run game, or at least we think Alabama's going to, and you're going to get what we think is going to be a complimentary defensive performance because of the way the offense is structured. So if you get both those two things, it's more about limiting your mistakes, playing within the offense, and playing complementary football to those two aspects. And whoever can do that, prove to do that the best, I think is who's going to end up winning the competition. Now, we don't know a ton about Ty Simpson on that front because we haven't seen him a ton, but we have seen plenty of Jalen Milroe, and Jalen Milroe has got to work on, cutting down the turnovers. If he's not able to do that, that's going to be things that are going to get you beat. And that's something that Alabama's trying to avoid because they think they can build up the rest of these different pillars and how you build a program and how you build a winning program. And, it's just a matter of doing and executing within the offense and doing what's asked of you.
Here with Clint Lamb of Bama Insider. Remember, Alabama about to enter spring football. You can read all our coverage leading up to spring football on BamaInsider.com. He's Clint Lamb. I'm Kyle Henderson. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you guys more than you know, inching closer to 90,000 subscribers right here on YouTube. Alabama has a new offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees. There's a lot of excitement around, kind of this offense and a lot of storylines. But how do you feel that the quarterbacks and how things will differ for the quarterbacks under Tommy Rees as we start not necessarily a new offensive identity, but with a new offensive coordinator?
Yeah, it's kind of like I was saying before. When you talk about the way that the offense is going to be structured, it's not going to be I don't think they're abandoning the pass game. I still think that's going to be a huge part of the offense. You didn't recruit these quarterbacks. You don't have the talent at wide receiver. You didn't bring in Malik Benson to play in a run-first, run-oriented offense. But I do think that Nick Saban is looking for more balance, and he wants to be able to play his passing game off of the running game. And so I think that that's going to be very important under Tommy Rees. It's like I said, I don't think there's nearly as much that's going to be put on the quarterback's shoulders, which is good. Bryce Young obviously rose to the occasion as a first-year starter in 2021, won the Heisman Trophy, came back as a returning starter in 2022. Had it not been for the shoulder injury, probably would have put up similar numbers, probably would have had similar success, and still was a very, very good quarterback for Alabama this past season. But, with these other two young guys, not a lot of experience. You don't really know what you're going to get out of them. And I think that with that, you want to be able to take as much pressure off of their plates as possible. And I think with Jalen Milroe in his rushing ability, if you need to have that volume runner that comes from somewhere else to give you more of that power rushing element to make Alabama's offense more physical, you've got that presence in Jalen Milroe. But if you're getting that from, a big physical offensive line that's dominating opponents, you've got a stable of running backs who's able to get the job done, which I fully expect Alabama to be able to do, then you can roll with a guy like Ty Simpson and have a lot of success. He's the kind of quarterback that's going to be able to thrive from within the pocket, play his mobility off of that. And I think he could certainly operate a Tommy Rees-led offense fairly effectively. It's not what he ran in high school. He was more of the run, pass option, spread system in high school. But I do think that his skill set would fit in very nicely with Tommy Rees. And so, you love the fact that Rees is going to be throwing a lot of, formations and motions and shifts and different things at defenses. The way that he schemes things up, I certainly think is going to be putting this Alabama offense in a position to be successful. And, I don't think there's going to be nearly as much pressure on the quarterbacks to win football games as there has been in the past.
Here with Clint Lamb of Bama Insider. My name is Kyle Henderson. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. You can look at any of our videos right here on our YouTube channel, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, just days away from Alabama's first spring football practice. You can catch all the coverage back on Bama Insider. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you guys more than you know. Clint, when we look at this quarterback room, is there any possibility that one of these incoming freshmen, Eli Holstein, Dylan Lonergan, potentially steals the show and is a guy that maybe makes waves during this spring period and even creates a further competition going into the 2023 season? I'm curious to get your take on particularly Holstein, Lonergan, because when I look to the roster, they have Holstein, and I know everybody's critical of Alabama's roster now, but Eli Holstein listed at 6'4", 237, Lonergan at 6'2", 212.
Yeah, I think the fact that you bring in a new offensive coordinator, I think that helps their chances. If you'd have had Bill O'Brien, it probably would have been the guys who have been in that system.
Yeah.
All these guys are going to be having to learn, a new way of going about things, and it's going to be a slightly different offense than the guys who the returning guys played in last year. So I think that evens the playing field a little bit. I think the young guys will be given opportunities, and it's all about, what they're able to do with them. Right now, I would probably say that there would be a slight advantage for the other two guys. I would say slight. I'd probably say significant. But it's not like you've got a quarterback who's been in the system for 3 or 4 years, who's kind of waited his turn. It's not like you've got a guy who's played a ton. Jalen Milroe got some valuable experience against Arkansas and then getting the start against Texas A&M. But I don't think that that's enough to make a significant difference in any potential quarterback battle. And so, I think on that front, there's not really an advantage that's playing into one particular guy's favor. But I think with Holstein, you got a big body guy. He's got some mobility himself. One thing I like about all these guys is you don't see, Mac Jones was certainly able to make things work within Alabama's offense. I think he had a little bit more mobility than we gave him credit for, but he definitely was more of a stationary, going to win from within the pocket, not going to see a whole lot of rolling outside the pocket and making plays outside of the tackle box. But he had some maneuverability within the pocket to make guys miss and things like that. But then, you've had Paul Tyson. You don't really see any of those styles of players on Alabama's current roster. They all bring a little bit, some mobility. If you're a young guy, that's going to help you, in those instances where things break down, turn to your legs, make a play on that front. And I think all 4 of these guys are capable of that. As far as just the young players, I mean, like I said, I don't think that either one of them are probably going to win it, but they'll be given, some opportunities this spring with a new coordinator, and it's all about what they do with those opportunities.
We want to hear what you think about the quarterback situation at Alabama going into 2023. So sound off inside the comment box. He's Clint Lamb. I'm Kyle Henderson, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, just a couple days away from Alabama's first spring practice. We'll have coverage on our YouTube channel, of course, back on Bama Insider. Give these guys a follow on social media. Part of Bama Insider, you got Clint Lamb, Andrew Bone, Joseph Hastings, Jimmy Stein. It's an award-winning crew. Go join the message board. Have a good time on Bama Insider. Shifting gears a little bit, Alabama's weight gain on its offensive line is monstrous. It's really an incredible story. We don't know what the starting 5 is going to be for the offensive line, but we know that J.C. Latham returns as one of the guys we feel could be the next first-round pick for Alabama. You have some guys who showed a lot of promise. Booker, McLaughlin, maybe a Terrence Ferguson could rise up, and then you got some big monsters coming in, and specifically Caden Proctor. Overall, I think Wolford's wanted to see more size, more dominance, more power. Clint, what's your take on the offensive line, and specifically on the weight gain and the overall size that is coming into Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, I think the number one thing with the guys who were already coming in, you knew that they were targeting size. They were recruiting a very specific type of offensive lineman. And even the one player who wasn't considered like that, really big guy, which was, Wilkin Formby, he had the length, elite length. I mean, I saw this guy in person. I mean, he looked 6'8" or 6'9" to me. Just looked incredible. But he's gone from 295, which is pretty lean for a guy with his length, to 320. So he's put on 25 pounds. That's a lot more in line with what you were looking for, in more of a power offensive tackle, probably more of a left tackle style of player. I think he's still a little bit more finesse, but he brings a little bit of power to his game. So I thought that was big on his front. Really, all of the offensive linemen they've recruited, all big body guys. But then the guys who are returning, you see JC Latham go from 326 to 335. He was already a good size over there at right tackle, and now he's gained another 9 pounds, and more than likely he's going to be kicking over to the left side, which you would typically, have a smaller offensive lineman on that left side. But Tyler Booker gained a few pounds. Elijah Pritchett went from 300 to 312. He was already considered, even when he was listed at 280 in high school, looked more finesse from a physical standpoint, but I thought he played with a ton of power. I'm very excited to see about what he's going to be able to do at 312, and he could still end up gaining some weight. But Seth McLaughlin gained, 6 or 7 pounds. Darian Dalcourt, him returning, gained 5 pounds. Terrence Ferguson went from 290 as a freshman when he arrived in Tuscaloosa to being 318 on this latest roster update. So he certainly got more of that size element. Jaden Roberts was a guy who was originally, 320, 325, 330. Alabama was wanting to take its offensive line in one direction, which was getting smaller and more athletic. He's, continued to lose weight year over year until this offseason. And after getting down to 302, he's back up to I think 315 or 316. So he's adding mass back. And I think that it's really a theme with the offensive line. They want to get bigger, more physical, more bully ball. And it's not just the offensive line, right? I mean, it's the tight ends. All those guys have gained significant weight. The running backs have gained weight, the receivers. So really just the offense in general, a lot of weight put on. And I think that's really going to help, playing in a Tommy Rees led offense.
Now, Clint, I kind of have to put you on a spot. Just going into spring ball, it's hard to forecast any of these offensive line predictions. But if you had to put together the 5 most likely guys to start an offensive line, and nobody's probably going to have a better shot than assuming than you, because you are a team guy. But what does it look like? I mean, give us from, tackle to tackle, and at the center spot, the guards, who do you think the 5 most realistic spots are that we're going to see at least repping with the first team as Alabama starts spring football?
Well, think of the 2 tackle spots. The assumption is JC Latham is going to switch over from right tackle to left tackle. If that ends up happening, which we awfully expect, he's probably going to be your left tackle. Who ends up replacing him at right tackle? I've personally thought that Elijah Pritchett has the best opportunity to be able to do that. We have seen him taking some reps at left tackle in some of the videos that he's posted on Instagram. So I thought that was interesting. Thought he'd be playing a lot more on the right side. But it's also possible that you could get maybe a Tyler Booker, who I thought had some, tackle guard ability coming out of high school. He actually played the entire spring last year at right tackle before moving inside to guard. I think he can be an elite guard. I think he already is an elite guard, but I also think that if Alabama needed him to move out to tackle to replace Latham, I certainly think he could do that as well. And that's going to depend a lot on what's happening, with your interior competition, with guys like Terrence Ferguson and Jaden Roberts and, Caden Proctor's got elite length, 6'7", 354, just a ton of size and ability. 5-star, high school recruit. How quickly is he going to be able to come in? And if he does, is he going to play guard? Is he going to play tackle? I think he'll probably, with his length and stuff, he could definitely survive at tackle. But I think early on, he can maybe take the Evan Neal route, play guard, play more in a phone booth, not have to worry about that SEC edge speed quite as much. So he'll certainly be in that competition. If I had to guess right now, like I said, Latham, left tackle, Pritchett, right tackle, Terrence Ferguson or Caden Proctor at left guard, Tyler Booker at right guard, maybe potentially Jaden Roberts at right guard if they want to move, Tyler Booker out to right tackle. And then I think it was absolutely huge that they got back Darian Dalcourt at center, because I think that with Seth McLaughlin, he was a good player last year. I don't think he was a great player or an elite player. And plus behind him, you only had James Brockermeyer. So you only had 2 centers. Didn't really, Brockermeyer, could have pushed him a little bit, but Darian Dalcourt's a guy who started. I think he's also been a good player. Getting him back really helps that competition. It's going to make both guys better. And, they'll have at least a couple of options at center, which really replenishes the depth. Good
stuff, Clinton. Don't forget, Kendall Randolph still coming back. Just kidding. It felt like he was here for ages, right? Did a lot of things for Alabama. That was great, Clint. I think you're right. I mean, hitting on Darian Dalcourt still on the roster, I think, is monumental. So good point out there. Look, we're going to be kicking out a lot of these videos leading up to spring ball. Stay with us right here on Bama Insider. Go to the message board, join those guys in the conversation, read their great articles. Congratulations again to Alabama's basketball team. You can read more about the Alabama basketball team and their historic run on Bama Insider. He's Clint Lamb. I'm Kyle Henderson. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We'll be back with the video actually tomorrow on Tuesday with Jimmy Stein of Bama Insider, and then again on Wednesday with Clint. So we're passing the ball back and forth right here on Bama Insider. From beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson, Clint Lamb, Bama Insider. Catch you next time, fam.